It's the combination of strong income demographics and low supply. So the reason for that is, now look, that's probably 80% of what makes a good suburb, because if you've got low supply and the right dwellings and strong demographics that are actually coming into the suburb, this includes suburbs that's gentrifying, you have people that are coming in that can afford to push prices up, and also you've got people that don't want to sell because they know the suburb's good, and that's why the supply is so low. So if that's consistent, that's something that's really good. Now, fundamentally strong industry is another thing. So not all industries, I think, are great to invest in. So for example, if you only have mining in your suburb, I'd say you're basically leveraging a very highly volatile suburb. So I wouldn't do that. Whereas if you've got a mix of high-end white-collar professionals, I'd say wealthier tradies and probably others. You can have people in the resources industry 100%. It's just not the only industry you'd want in your suburb. So that's what I mean by fundamentally strong industry. That goes along also with lifestyle triangle, and I'd say with that as well, that would include schools and your transport, because if you've got a suburb that is good to live in, close to schools and lifestyle precincts as to where you live, people won't want to leave because their life is very easy and good there. So they tie in together. Planning restrictions is an important one as well. If you've got open farmland around where you're buying and open land everywhere, what is stopping the next developer from buying the next paddock and putting a 400 lot subdivision up? So that largely goes to your supply and demand, that alone. So that's just something that I guess everyone should probably consider in buying properties, because it is really important for your supply and demand. Look, to go further with this as well, your proximity to the CBD and water, especially in Melbourne, do matter. People don't like living too far from the CBD. They like the inner city areas. And they also it's not all parts of the water, but it's certain parts of the close to the water that are very well, should I say, gentrified and have the right things there. So, a lot of the Bayside, a lot of Port Phillip, some parts of Hobson's Bay are good examples of this. I'd avoid somewhere like Point Cook, to give you an idea, although it's in front of the water. Just not a good area, to buy in. Finally, just strong gentrification location. So I've been into this a little bit, I guess, with the demographics, but there are areas of Melbourne that are completely changing, and also areas where I'm telling you the government is actually assisting suburbs in the sense of gentrification. So if the government's doing it and you've already got it happening, there's a strong chance it's going to continue to happen. So that's just another thing to consider in Melbourne. These are the reasons of what makes a good suburb and the fundamentals behind the market. Now let's get into the characteristics of the cycle. And what I've kind of done here is I've got 5 key points, and I've said it's a fight for. So the first thing is a fight for is a high quality location. Now, Melbourne is funny because not all locations, I'd say, are well serviced. Not all locations good areas to live, but a high quality location generally, is generally close to a good lifestyle location, generally close to the city, or generally be close to good paying jobs. So my second thing there is for the proximity to high paying jobs. So generally, what I mean by that is you don't want it to be any longer than probably about 15 minutes to maybe about half an hour at max to the high-paying job. So, look, as to how you get there doesn't really bother me. It can be on train, bus, by car, but you're pretty much limiting, I'd say, the west of Melbourne to about 15 k's from the CBD, the north by about probably 10. And you look, the eastern and Bayside, I'd say inner east Bayside, inner south. There are some quite good job hubs a little bit further out. So you got, I guess, a bit better proximity to high-paying jobs there as well. The third thing's probably something that people don't consider a lot, and that's underpriced spillover suburbs. So what do I mean by this? Now, every should I say cycle has different suburbs that tend to be underpriced, that are around much more expensive suburbs. So I'm not actually mentioning this as one of my top suburbs because I think there's slightly better ones for the same budget at the moment. But a good example of this would be Heidelberg Heights and Heidelberg West in the north of Melbourne. It's probably about 13k from the CBD. There may be 14 depending on where you are in the suburb. But they're good examples that are surrounded by much higher income suburbs like Ivanhoe East, Heidelberg, Rosanna, all really more expensive suburbs. And, don't get me wrong, still a bit of public housing there, but most of it's sold off. So those are good examples of underpriced spillover suburbs in Melbourne. So that's another thing. Walkability. Melbourne's a city, I'd call it the most European city in Melbourne. A lot of Melbourne really, the people like Melbourne because of the villagey lifestyle, the alleys, the coffee, the restaurants, and also even the nightlife. It's a city that's genuinely opened a lot later than almost every other city in Australia. So walkability is an important thing because it's just a thing that people move to Melbourne for and they like Melbourne for. So definitely consider that when you're looking to buy in Melbourne as well. It's something that's really important. And finally, I've mentioned this in the past, but transport and lifestyle triangle. Transport is going to play a part in that. There are parts in the far west and the far north of Melbourne that have horrendous transport and horrendous lifestyle triangles. I mean, they got one service road in, one service road out. Some of them only have a Coles Express to service 4 whole, estates. And that won't even service, one. But anyway, that's what they do. So really important. Look, if you've got a good lifestyle triangle, quick trip to good schools, quick trip to work, quick trip to, let's say, the beach or a good, location. It could be even a good restaurant or high street kind of area. If that all matches up, chances are the suburb is going to do very well. And I can tell you right now, it's another thing that people are fighting over at the moment. So these are all characteristics that are basically going on in the Melbourne market at the moment. I can see it. It's happened in the past, but it's very strong to these 5 key areas. So this is something just to consider in the Melbourne cycle. These are the suburbs that are going to do well. And so you definitely need to consider where you buy it for these reasons.